Today, I'm super excited. Why? Because I'm going to bring you someone who is quite simply probably achieving the most amount I've ever seen out of one individual person. And I'm going to share all about his journey and understand what is going on. If you don't know, it's David Prochaska. And I'm excited to see how this man can do over 7 figures pretty much single-handedly on his own. Stay tuned. Right, guys, if you don't know, today I'm interviewing David Prochaska. And why am I interested in interviewing him? Well, because quite simply, this man has, should we say, broken the 7-figure mark. He is self-prepping and he managed to hit the gym 5 times a week. But not only that, he has a full-time job as well. My God, that is absolutely insane. Now, I don't want to share too much, and obviously I want to understand more about why this is happening and how you've managed to achieve it. But David, thank you so much for joining me. But if anyone doesn't know who you are, can you give us a little bit of a background into yourself and obviously like how you got started into Amazon?
Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction, man. I got started in Amazon FBA in January 2021. Super slow start. I actually listened to a podcast where I heard Nathan Jackson of Hustle Buddies talking about Amazon FBA. And I was like, hey, if he can do it, like maybe I could do it. I've kind of hustled my whole life of selling this and that and created an account. And I try not to get super caught up in like all the intricacies of the software, whatever. I just knew that I had to send a shipment in, and I knew that I needed to see on the Amazon seller app that proof of concept. I needed, because I didn't believe that it was true. And yeah, sent in the shipment, and it kind of started from there. I invested in courses, things like that. 178,000 my first year, 917, maybe 856,000 my second year. And I'm set to do, the last 12 months, I've done over $1 million in Amazon. So, set to do maybe 1.3, 1.5 million this year. And yeah.
My God. And obviously you still work full time, is that right?
I do work full time.
We were talking a bit off air. So like you still manage to go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. You're working full time. You, should we say, you've got a family as well. How do you have time for this now? It's like, I'm going to say like, this is impossible. Like that's the normal, should we say, thing that I hear about. Can't do it. I've got because of X, Y, and Z. How do you make time for this?
Don't get me wrong. I do feel overwhelmed from time to time. I absolutely do. I'm in an overwhelmed feeling kind of right now, coming off of vacation, and I'm a little bit behind on inventory. Sometimes inventory gets stacked up a lot, and that's kind of where I thrive, and you want to really hurry and get stuff out. But really, scheduling, I'm pretty big. Like I have a pretty strict schedule that I like to stick to. I've noticed that if I cut out time that I'm wasting a lot of times of scrolling on Instagram, if I, getting up and immediately start working on something, coming home, immediately start working on something, preparing for the day before, preparing for the week before, scheduling stuff out. Like I have a calendar of when I'm going to get up and do this for 30 minutes, go to work for 8.5 hours. I do a lot of sourcing while I'm at work. So I work in a call center, and I'm able to do some sourcing a little bit, not to get distracted from my job, but sometimes there's downtime, and I'm able to source maybe an hour and a half a day, and go to the gym immediately after work. I meal prep and things like that, lay my clothes out the day before. Really getting paired is probably the biggest thing. Scheduling things out, knowing that I'm going to do this. There's certain times that like when I go to prep things, I'll go ahead and set stuff out to prep. And then when I need to prep, I can just walk into my prep area and start prepping. I don't have to sit down and figure out like what's my shipment going to be. I've already done that. So I kind of have processes in place to kind of like help me be as effective and efficient as possible.
And let's just be clear, like if anyone's asking, oh, you must have like 20 VAs. Do you have like 20 VAs?
I do not. It's just me sourcing. I do have friends that I network with. Sometimes we share leads, but I try to find things that I can buy over and over, or sales that I know that I can hit over and over. There's all kinds of different coupons that go active for certain sites, and I know that I can hit that. I can pull up inventory, unlisted inventory or old inventory I've sold, and just kind of search by name and an inventory lab, and I can see old leads. New leads. I am on a leads list right now, but sometimes I use leads lists, sometimes I don't.
Can I ask, like, what's a rough selling price for your kind of products that you sell?
My average selling price right now is $27.63, something like that, but I'm heavy on small and light. I've prepped probably 250, 300 units of small and light today, but there's some items that I sell that's $150, $170. So there's really no, but average, it's about 27. That's what Inventory Lab tells me anyway.
Wow. Well, it's interesting because I could understand if you're selling like $500 units, like it becomes a lot easier. But like, I think I'm selling like $70 units and you're selling, $27 units and obviously doing all the legwork behind it. So the reason why I asked that question is because like what percentage of your stock would come from things like leads lists? What would come from like you manually sourcing yourself? And like what percentage would come from like the deals shared with your, should say, friends?
So the majority of things that I purchase, it's things that I've manually sourced before and just sat down and kind of went one by one on a web page to try to find like 3-packs, 4-packs, 12-packs, 8-packs. It's a small percentage of things that I buy from other people and leads list. Sometimes leads lists give me, clues of sales that are going on. I couldn't accurately tell you a percentage of that, but I do send about 30 or 40% of my inventory to a prep center for them to prep, and I'm slowly trying to integrate more and more of that. But it's just like with small and light stuff, it's hard to, it doesn't make sense financially to do that. But, I would say probably 80% of what I buy is from me looking and finding stuff myself.
Wow. And I think because we spoke off air, like when you talk about prep, you said you're really, a lot of stuff is just sticker on go. Is that the stuff that you're prepping yourself? Are you strategic in thinking about that? Is that like a buying decision that you make, and do you ship all the hard stuff to the prep center? Or how do you define that or break that up?
Yeah, that's really hard to decide on what to send to a prep center, because if I send it to a prep center and they just have to sticker it, they only charge me $1 to do that. But if it only takes a sticker, why don't I just do it? Because it only takes 2 seconds to do it. It's hard to decide of what to do on that, but really I just use them to kind of offload a lot of the work, especially if it's a 4-pack. They charge me like $2 for a bundle. If I can get a 3 or 4-pack sent to them, it makes sense if I can do that, and to save my time. But and then of course if there's enough profit. But I do strategically kind of look for things that I could potentially just put a sticker on and go. I try really, but I'm not opposed to, I'll break down a 16-pack of something and package it back together as a 4-pack if I have to.
Wow, no, I love it. I think the kind of question which I'm trying to understand is you talked about it earlier on around like preparation. You have good processes in place. Tell me about that. Like, can you give us some more detail? I'm really into processes. I think they're like the most game-changing thing that we should be doing, because we can, the analogy I use is sharpening the axe. A process is an axe, and every time you improve the process, you make it sharper and sharper. And then one day you have a chainsaw, and you're like, woohoo, I can chop down the tree quicker. So like, tell me about some of your processes, and maybe something that you really like. Like, what is it? How does it work? And like, how has it helped your life?
So as in terms of prepping things myself, I'll just give you an example of the shipment that I'm working on right now. I always start with items that are the most units, or if I know that I have a replenishable item that I've packaged before, and I know that like 11 of these are going to fit in this box, 48 of these are going to fit in this box, and I can go ahead and prep those boxes, and I can, as I'm prepping and packaging, like I just put them in the box, tape up the box, and put a sticky note on the outside of it saying this weighs such and such pounds, and this has 48 units in it, or 20 units, or however many it is. Usually every shipment that I have is usually something like every shipment has replenishable items that I've sold before, so I can just go ahead and prep like 5, 6, 7, 10 boxes ready, and I can just package it and put a sticky note on it as I go. So that really helps a lot. I like to usually, if let's say tomorrow or maybe Sunday is going to be a prep day for me, I'll set some stuff out on Saturday, like when I have like 10, 15, 20 minutes. Everybody has that every day. And I'll look to see like what I want to send out tomorrow. And I'll go ahead and set it out on the prep tables, unbox it, whatever I have to do to get it ready. So like Sunday, when I come home from work and I walk into the prep area, I can go ahead and just start prepping. I already know. So like that, I don't like to sit down at my computer and start the day at 7 a.m. and be like, what am I going to prep today? I like to start my 7 a.m. day and like already know that like I've set stuff out the night before or day before. This is what I'm prepping today. And that helps a lot. And boxing it up as you go, like, is a game changer in terms of efficiency.
Yeah, I love that. And if I read between the lines, it's because you're buying very similar items over and over and over again. You're replenishing them, should we say. Sure. You just kind of know the kind of products you're buying and resetting out. And I love everyone has 20 minutes. Like, it's so true.
Yeah.
So question for you, if I was someone right now starting and they were, listening to this interview right now, they would probably say every one of the deals that I buy, I can't replenish. It doesn't happen. Like they keep going out of stock, or should we say the price changes, or it's not profitable anymore. Like what would you say to them? Like, is that something you see? Like, how does it work for you?
Usually everything eventually is going to go down in price. I have a thing, just a saying in my head, everything tanks, like, and however long it's going to take to go down in price. Like, usually everything does go down in price, but finding things that are just everyday household items going manually sourcing one by one. Like if you see some type of brand, like some type of Colgate toothpaste that's sold in like a 6-pack or 5-pack, like search that manually on the Amazon.com. Go to Keepa, search for it in Keepa product finder. You search by brand, type in some in the text field to Keepa product finder, and really try to uncover a lot of stones. Sometimes I send in inventory that hasn't been sold in a year, and sometimes it sells. Sometimes I have to run some ads to like get it going again, get it in front of eyeballs. But manually source, go through one by one, search for 3-packs, 4-packs. Those are my replenishable items that I can buy over and over again. I do a lot of Amazon flips too, looking for like there's certain products that I have, health and household items that I can buy in bulk and list them as 2-packs or 3-packs, or if it's a rare item that's just having supply chain issues.
Off air, we talked about it. You did like OA, RA, and you also talked about A to A flips. Like, can you give us a percentage breakdown on the top of your head? What do you think? Like, what would you say they are?
The past few months, I've gotten a lot better at Amazon to Amazon flips. So like I start out by storefront stalking a lot, and then it just kind of, I see somebody that has something in stock and Amazon's in stock, so I click through and I kind of like look to see, well, if Amazon has this in stock, is this like another listings for it that like maybe there's a different kind of listing. But I would say Amazon to Amazon flips like is probably about 30 to 40% of it right now. And wow. I'm doing a lot of Amazon to Amazon flips, and typically Amazon flips are like you buy it and wait for Amazon to go out of stock and then sell it back on that same listing. But I'm buying it from Amazon, and it could be like different packaging on a different listing. It's the same product, but it could be like slightly different packaging or whatever the case is. And I'm not doing hardly any RA at all right now. So it would probably be the rest is 60% OA. When deals happen throughout the year, I'll do some more RA and hit stores pretty heavily. But typically, no, I don't just like leave my house and think, well, let me go to the store today and scan items. That's not something I do.
So when you're doing like the A to A flips, I'm guessing like an element of it could be also as well that you're doing like bundles. You're buying one and flipping them into a bundle or two, for example, multi-pack. And do you not have like issues around order quantities or, as you say, around that? I'm guessing with Amazon, they're not putting restrictions on it.
Every now and then, there are sometimes with Amazon, they limit it to 27 quantity, or they'll limit it to 45 quantity. And then just some days I'll check and with Amazon flips, you just have to check every day, because sometimes Amazon will drop their price from like $5 down to $3.50 for, a day or two. And then some days I can only buy 45, and then some days they just let me buy 200, 300, 400. I had a really good, last month they dropped the price on something like $3 and they didn't have any quantity limits or anything. And I spent almost like $7,000 on something.
So tell me about that. Like, that's the one thing that I really like is whether it be A to A or whether it be OA, and the fact that you've got a voucher code or something and you want to go really deep. Tell me about like how your decision, what's your process of like analyzing a deal to say, okay, I'm going to drop $7,000 on this, because a lot of people starting out now, they'll be like, that's a lot of cash.
Yeah. If I'm going to drop that much money on a product, the listing has to have been active for a long time. There has to be like UPC codes to it. There can't just be generic. There has to be multiple listings of that brand or that certain kind of product for me to go that deep, because you never know what could happen on a particular listing. I'm not buying like $7,000 just for one listing. I might sell a lot of it on one listing, but usually there's other listings that's the same product that might be, just a single listing or different. I always have like some type of backup plan if listings are deleted. I don't think that they would, but that particular listing had about 5 or 6 different products listings for it. So if one got shut down or whatever happened got deleted, I would be okay. But usually I don't go that deep at first. I don't go 7,000 deep right at first, unless it was something like solid, like probably Lego or something like that. But there always has to be some type of backup plan. If I couldn't, either multiple listings, or it's a product that could go on eBay or Walmart Marketplace where it would sell kind of easy too. It just has to have some type of escape plan to liquidate, and so I'm not stuck with it.
Okay, so you're protecting the downside, and then I'm guessing for you to go deep on a product, you're saying I'd had to have sold a small sample of it already, like a test buy, should we say? And then is there anything else that you're looking at? Like, is it competition? Is it historic price? How much analytics do you do on Keepa? Like, tell me about that. Are there any other indicators you're looking at?
Historically, like does it go on sale sometimes? Amount of people that are selling the item, that does take an effect. Sometimes when you're looking at items so much, you can kind of get a feel if there's like some type of of supply chain issue. If people are going out of stock, what's the seller count look like? Is it available on other websites? That would make a big deciding factor too. If it's available on every other website and like there's only 1 or 2 listings for it, then I'm not going to go that deep because everybody else has access to it. So, I mean, noticing supply chain issues and inventory stock levels on other sources plays a big role.
Okay, fine. So like when you're like, right, I like this deal, it looks good, I'm going to buy deep. You're checking other suppliers, you're seeing what they've got. Maybe do you ever like call wholesalers and see if they've got like how much stock they've got of it?
Not really. I don't. I don't do wholesale just because I live in an apartment complex, so I can't have pallets to deliver here. So I don't really have. I have a few wholesale accounts, but nothing crazy. I mean, if I can get it delivered in a box, I will, but not really.
That's going to be a good workout going in the apartment, up and down the stairs or in the elevator.